welcome to our Morning Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
And I'm Jeff. And we're the fucking Morning Throners. And welcome back to another episode of your favorite Song of Ice and Fire podcast. We're your Morning Throners. Just a day late, not a dollar short. Episode 9 of the House of the Dragon recap. Nelly?
Traditionally, episode 9s are the big ones. Red Wedding.
Pretty big. I'm missing a whole lot of characters.
What'd you think about it?
Good ep. I do have some questions too that I think you would be able to answer for me without, like, not spoilers or anything like that. Like, just little, like, motivations throughout the episode. I'm like, what the fuck? But we'll get into that throughout the plot line.
I'll say up top too, they're departing from the book more than they've been departing in all the episodes a little bit, but they're doing so more here. I'm not a big fan of it. And I think there might be some of your questions I can't explain, because I have some questions that I can't explain in this episode too.
So that makes me wonder. Good episode. I don't like that you don't see Rhaenyra at all. I think that's kind of weird. I get that she's not supposed to know that her dad's dead.
Yeah, they're trying to show, like, behind the scenes what's happening here. It's also only like a day, right? Like this whole episode takes place within like...
Yeah, I mean, Rhaenyra must have just left, right?
Yeah, it starts off, she's just left. That's why Rhaenys is even here. Right. One of the problems I had in the back of my head is, like, why is Rhaenys even here?
Right, why is she still chilling? But she's just still a guest right now?
Yeah, because I don't think she's there, like, when this whole stuff starts happening in the books. I think she's on Dragonstone.
You know what else just doesn't make sense to me? Is the dragon pit.
I think it's a cool scene. It's one of those scenes that are, like, in the moment, you're like, oh, that's cool. But then, like, once you think about it a little bit, you're like... I think the scene
is cool, but just the pit in general makes no sense. One, it's barely big enough for this dragon.
I don't know. It's big.
The dragon looks super big in the scene, like huge. And then it squirts out through the doors. Yeah. Like, the building's dimensions make no sense to me. Like, it doesn't look that big. It looks like the Great Sept or something. And then,
I agree.
Holy shit, this dragon just climbs out of the floor. And how many dragons are there? There's, like, how big is it underneath the pit? Like, it
looks
different doesn't make sense.
Like, when she's walking in through the huge crowd, it looks absolutely massive. Right. And then when they're inside, it looks pretty big. It looks like 2 or 3 football fields. And then the dragon... And then when the dragon's there, it looks like a tiny little box.
Right. And then there's other dragons, and there's bigger dragons. Like, yeah. Vhagar can't. Like, where do they fit in? Like, I get it. This one flew through the door, but, like...
Well, again, I don't think this is ever in the books, but I think Laena, when she's, like, little, like, 12 and talking to Viserys, like, remember when they're trying to set up that marriage and those two are walking together? I think she says, like, oh, do you know where Vhagar is? Like, I think they last saw him sighted off the coast of here because he's too big for the dragon pit now. So she says, and again, I don't think that's ever in the books, but she says that dragons get too big for the dragon pit. So to that point, but
yeah. All right. Well, good episode.
I will say, again, I think all the episodes are awesome. This is a good episode. Agree with that. I think it's probably my least favorite episode, though.
I don't know. I thought episode 3 or 4 was kind of weak.
The hunt one.
One was definitely weak, and then even like the Stepstone one till the end. Maybe that's the same.
That's the hunt one. Yeah, the hunt is bookended with the Stepstone. Starts with the dragon, and then it starts with the Daemon doing his thing.
Even the one after that, I don't think, like the one where they kind of run through the city, and Rhaenyra gets blue-balled.
Yeah, and Christian Cole.
I guess that one was cool. I'd have to rewatch again to really get a feel, but it has me wondering. Like, they make it seem like they want you to root for Alicent, and now Otto's like lead villain.
Yeah, so that's definitely one of the things that are changing from the books. Is like, in the books, if there was ever a conversation between Viserys and Alicent, like, we don't know about it, because it's written from the point of view of a maester, but also, like, here when Otto, like, names Aegon Hand, he says, like, oh, Viserys said this when he died. Like, he says that to everybody.
Say that again? Otto names Aegon Hand?
Well, not Hand, King, at the end. Yeah. Like, right at the end in the Dragon Pit when they're having the Aegon's walking in, Otto's like, on his deathbed, Viserys, this was his last wish. Right? And it sounded pretty bullshit. Sure. Like, only a few people clapped. But he at least says it to the point where, like...
Right, so the maester
like,
then...
the book, it would have been in the book.
The claim that they claim that this happened. Yeah. I mean, the one guy calls bullshit immediately. And when they bring in, like, a handful of lords.
And that's truthful. Well, yeah. And
Beesbury. Yeah, dude. Beesbury is the goat.
That's, like, the one thing that's from the book, except... he I think gets, again, we don't know exactly how he died. He either gets his neck slit, he gets tossed out a window, or he gets put in a cell. But he doesn't get his head smacked against the. It's not.
It didn't really matter. They just had to kill him.
Yeah, and I kind of want him to get tossed out a window because he lands in the dry moat with all the spikes. I kind of wanted to see that.
And they wanted Kristen Cole to be that guy.
He does it. Christian Cole does it no matter what.
Yeah.
Whether he throws him out the window, cuts his neck, or which is why, like, you see, like, I knew Beesbury wasn't making it out of this council chamber. Yeah. And like once he starts talking, Christian Cole just like kind of steps into the background, and I'm like, no. And he's like in the background for the entire speech. But yeah. Beesbury has this moment.
Beesbury went from being a weirdo like kind of like an airhead to like being the one with the biggest set of kahunas, and like, no, we're not standing up for this shit. Like, and he kind of comes right at, I mean, he couldn't have thought he was walking out of there. He was calling Allison and everybody treasoners and whatnot. All right, let's just get into it.
We're kind of at the beginning. Yeah.
It starts with a handmaid or like a serving boy, right? Seeing that Viserys is dead.
Yep.
Telling Talia, who
then
lights candles to tell the White Worm.
Brienne of Tar style.
Yeah.
Or, Brienne of Tar, Sansa Stark, right? Sansa lights the tower, lights a candle in the tower to tell Brienne. Yeah. So, and then she tells Allison, and Allison's like, hyperventilating in bed. I mean, I took that as kind of disingenuous, but I don't know. Maybe she was surprised.
I mean, I think she, unless she poisoned him.
I'm just saying, like, we literally saw the scene where Viserys died, and Allison was there like
10 seconds earlier.
Yeah.
And then Beesbury's like, by all accounts, he was healthy. Like, bullshit. He could barely walk into the room. Like, you saw him stumble into the throne room. Like, he wasn't healthy. But
so then it goes right to Allison and Otto together.
Right.
And Allison tells Otto about what Viserys said, and he like perks up, half chub. You know what I mean? He's like, whoa.
They get some goofy angles of, did you see the cut up of, it was from episode 8. It's Otto like placing himself on the throne to do whatever they had to do, the drift mark thing. And then it's him and little Nicky sitting on the devil's throne. And he sits on it like exactly the same way, like the way he lowers himself down like sideways and then like leans back into the chair. It's funny as shit. Like it's superimposed over each other, and he might have done like they might have been like, "Hey, the way you sat on this throne, like little Nicky, do that again." Like it's so funny. I'll put it in the Discord.
Yeah.
So he gets hype, and then it becomes where's Aegon? Is this okay? They just take it to the council, and you know everybody like the Lannister guys they've already been conspiring, right? Which I think is no surprise to anybody but Alicent. Mm-hmm. I'm a little bit surprised that she is I guess the killing of Rhaenyra was news to her.
The killing of Rhaenyra,
or was the whole thing like? Did they really? Was she just cool with?
Oh no! So they come in here and basically she tells everyone like what Viserys said, and Tyland.
It's like, all right, let's get.
Oh, awesome! So this is going to fit with the plans. Yeah. And she's like, wait, what? And they actually go into a few things here. Like he says, like there's 2 captains of the gold cloaks that are Daemons. We need to get them fucking out.
Yeah.
Tyland says like we're going to divide the gold in the treasury. Ravens are going to our allies, River Run and Highgarden. Again, like none of this seems to like it's all like really quick and passing, but this might be important in like future seasons.
Okay.
And then this is where Beesbury has his little deal. Dope.
Yeah, Beesbury was cool. I want to hit on something real quick because it was a little shocking that Allison's like so taken aback because like literally 4 episodes when it was young Aegon jerking off out the window, she's basically like, you need to like step up, like she was kind of like
it's gonna be a war no matter what.
She's kind of like preparing him, and now she's like, what? Like this is like, I don't know, maybe she thought after that dinner like her and Rhaenyra actually like squashed the beef and she was trying to be cool.
Yeah, and again, like I feel like kind of like to what you're saying in that earlier episode, it made sense with kind of like what happens in the book. Like in the book, like we don't, like I was saying earlier, I never really finished my point earlier. In the book, there's no evidence that Viserys did say anything to Alicent or not. Sure. But there's nothing like no declaration that he did. Like there's not even a claim, right? Like I said, Otto doesn't claim that in the book at all. So
sure,
if Viserys does say it, it's something that Alicent never tells to anyone that makes it into histories, right? And in this council, there's a lot of accounts from this council, and Alicent is very like for everything they're doing. Like, okay, how do we get Aegon king? Like we're breaking rules
with killing Rhaenyra. Like,
I'm not sure if she's pro or anti killing Rhaenyra, but she's like she's like on board with that. Like she's like scheming with them. Like she's not like I agree. Like she seems like they're trying to make her too good. Like they're trying to make her too
It looks
cleanly
like
good.
they're trying to make it seem like she's actually trying to fulfill Viserys' wishes and
She's not doing anything
not
wrong.
being greedy, right?
She's not doing anything wrong in her mind, at least. Like plausible deniability, they're trying to give her,
Sure.
and she doesn't have that in the books. Like she's in the book, she's clearly like at least scheming a little bit, and I think they should have left a little bit.
Well,
of that
she
in.
does scheme here against her father, which is kind of like the one thing.
And this is this is like the big problem I have with this episode is like this doesn't matter. Like there's no point in a hunt for Aegon.
This is where I was just confused. Like, what would have been the difference if Otto found him?
Yeah, nothing. There is none. Like there is
like
no.
They
this
would
is just
have
pointless.
put the correct. Like, what would Otto have like gave him a different pep talk? Like, in like, hey, we're gonna go kill Rhaenyra. Like, was
exactly.
that the
The
whole
only
point?
thing that's different is like. So what I'm saying, what I was thinking, like, because I rewatched this for this, because we're recording a day late. So I rewatched the episode, and like the whole time that I was thinking, I was like, what's the point in this? Like, this is like some season 8 or season 7 Game of Thrones shit. What they should do is do season 1 to 3 Game of Thrones shit and take this whole 20-minute chase scene of them doing this out and put in a 5-minute scene of Alicent and Otto just talking about why they each think that they're right. But they do that. They have that at the end anyway. They have like a really good scene between Alicent and Otto where Alicent's like, you can't just kill everyone. And Otto has the Tywin Lannister approach of like, why is it better to have a huge war than to kill like 20 people? Like, why is that better? Like,
I mean, is it better to kill? Yeah. So
again, I think some of the parts are cool, but it just in general felt like filler. Sorry.
So what they tried to achieve during the chase scene, one, introducing Eric and Eric, but in a conflict between Eric and Eric about Aegon. Like they disagree about Aegon.
Yeah, they have other points of view. Like it shows that they have like. So one thing that's cool, again, I don't hate everything about the we're calling it the chase scene. It's not really the chase. It's like they're searching for him or whatever, right?
Search party.
Is when they do go into that brothel and like it's when they start having disagreements. It's like Eric with an E is like, look at him, look at the place that he hangs out.
Yeah,
like
he's not fit to rule.
Plus, like he thinks it's BS that like everyone's gonna think it's BS what Viserys said, right? Because it kind of is. Like Alicent just misunderstood him.
Right.
So like he's like it's BS. Plus he's an asshole. Like sure we might be technically like breaking the vows, like because like by the book the Queen told us Viserys said that. You know what I mean? Like
sure, yeah, no, I get it. And Eric with an A is just like who gives a fuck? Like we're knights. Like just do what you're told.
And he seems to kind of like him. Like there's the one point like where they really separate is like when they do find him in the Sept. Eric with an A tackles him and he's like, men would kill to like most men would kill for what you're running from.
And is he hiding? Like I don't understand Aegon's deal. Like did the White Worm capture him or is he running to hide?
I took it as like a joint thing. Like she was like, "Hey, hide in this." I think this is kind of funny too. Like, "Hey, hide in the Sept. It's the last place anyone would ever look for you. And I'll get some transportation ready." And really, she's just like, "Yeah, go hide there, and I'm going to sell you." Like, that's really what's happening. But that's kind of how I took it. Yeah.
So it also introduces Kristen being just like maybe in love with Alicent now.
It's weird. He's like either that or a born again. Faith of the Seven guy. He's like, because Aemon says like, "Oh, my brother took me here to get my dick wet" or something like that. And he's like, "How dare you speak about a woman like that? Like every woman is made in the shape of the mother or something like that." And you're like, wait, are you just like saying that because it's like you're like a stepdad? Like you're saying like you're like kind of like the secret stepdad now, or like
I don't
know.
And then it also showed Aemon as like wanting to be king.
Sure.
Like I thought Aemon was just about to, and Danny said it too. Like I knew Aegon wasn't going to die.
Yeah. And another huge part I have with this, with that, I have a huge problem with this. And there's a scene in particular, like the chase is like when they capture him, right? Like, so they come out of the Sept, the twins do.
Yeah.
And then they start fighting.
And Aegon's just screaming that he doesn't want to be king.
Yeah. And Aemon is like fighting him. He's like, and Aegon's like, I want to leave. Like, why doesn't Aemon just like let him leave?
Because
another problem I have. So listen to my problem with the whole Aemon thing. And we learn about this in this episode when Alicent goes to see Helena. Let's go to that scene real quick. What's happening in that scene?
Her 2 kids are playing.
2 kids. One of them is a boy to Aegon. So Aegon has a son. Yeah, Helena and Aegon are husband and wife. They have two children.
I thought they were both boys. They look like twins almost.
There are twins, but one's a boy and one's a girl. So
what are their names? Can I know their names, or are they
Jaehaerys and Jaehaera?
Okay.
But yeah, one of them's a boy. So Aemon, my point is Aemon's not second in line. Aegon, if he's king, has a son. So Jaehaerys is heir, not Aemon. So like the whole point of like, oh, we got to get rid of him. He's not going to be. That's not how this works. Like if they wanted to do this thing with Aemon this episode, cool. Just don't introduce the twins till next episode. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't make sense for Aemon to be like thinking that he's acting like he's next in line. King. He's not next in line.
He's acting like it's like a democracy, and they just like vote. They would vote for it and be like, "Oh, well, Aemon's a better fighter. Maybe he's a little bit smarter. He's a little bit maybe nicer, or he's not like watching kids fight in the fighting pits. Aemon might be the better choice." Like, but
yeah, I guess to your point, he's not necessarily talking about how he's next in line. He's just talking about how he would be better at it than Aegon. Yeah.
But I mean, Aegon's then just like yelling in front of the Sept, like, "I don't want to be king." Like, it's obviously him now. Like,
yeah. And what I'm saying is like, why are they fighting then? Like at that point, if you're like Aemon, just like let him go. Like, cool, go get on your ship.
I mean,
like,
Eric,
I'll let Christian, keep fighting Eric.
Pull out real steel for what? Like,
yeah, like I don't know.
All right, so what's next then?
Going back though, we're jumping around a little bit. Let's finish some stuff at the council. After Christian kills Beesbury, Harold is like,
yeah, I'm out. He's pulling Barristan. He's going to Rhaenyra's side. He's going right to Dragonstone.
Exactly. So again, this is one thing that was different in the books, and I don't hate.
I mean, he was her guard right from the beginning. I think you even mentioned like he might be loyal to her because he started guarding her.
Well, yeah, this is something that's different in the books that I don't mind that they changed. Harold Westenling is already dead, and in the books at this point, Harold Westling's already dead, and Christian Cole is Lord Commander. So, but I think you're right. I think they're probably going to do a Barristan Selmy type thing where he's going to show up on Dragonstone,
and just
kill him, makes the most sense.
He dies in the first battle.
Or not. Like, who knows? He can stay around.
Do you know how he dies in the books?
Again, there's other Kingsguard that do stuff that haven't been mentioned yet, so maybe he takes the place of one of those.
Okay.
Well, he's already dead in the books, but I don't remember exactly how he dies.
One thing I wanted to mention, because they rolled that ball to Tywin Lannister.
Yeah.
His ball looked like a dragon's eye. Did you notice that at all?
I think they're actually called that. Like whatever those stones are called. It's not dragon's eye, but it's like a word that in Greek or something means like dragon's eye or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it was cool. All right, what else is what other scenes did we skip over?
I guess in the Helena scene, like we were talking about it, but not really.
She mentions the beast in the floor. So Alicent goes to hug her, I think, and she like backs away from her, like swats her hand away. Like that's kind of weird. And is she saying like, "Don't worry about that. There's a beast in the floorboards," or like she wouldn't take consoling from her mother? Does she not like her mother?
She's clearly weird. What's cool is like before Alicent comes in, she seems to be talking to the twins, talking to the twins and the nanny. There's like a nanny dealing with the twins, and she's saying like, the one will always want what the other one has, or something like that, right?
So is that about Aemon and Aegon, or about twin? Well,
I think it's kind of about like Aegon and Rhaenyra. Is a general statement, but like she's talking, and at the time it's like the whole point. Like they want everybody wants to be the throne. It's not nothing specific, but just like a general everything what's happening right now.
Gotcha.
She's not needling a spider. She's needling
a beetle.
It's only got 6 legs. I thought it was a tick. It's got a big fat. I pulled some ticks off my dog, so
I don't know.
Tick to me.
Bloodsucker? Is she a bloodsucker? She's weirdo. Yeah, I mean, it's all over the internet. Like, you got to pay attention to her.
Yeah.
But
and Beast in the Board, second time she said that. She said that during dinner time last time.
Yeah. And it turns out to be Rhaenys just pulling up her dragon through the deal. Is that not a book thing?
That's, I mean, like I said, Rhaenys isn't here. Rhaenys and Meleys are on. This is a lot of people don't like that scene. I'll tell you that from like what I've seen on Twitter.
Because it doesn't make sense why Rhaenys just doesn't melt them to the ground.
Well, that and
let's save it. We'll save it.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
We'll plug it for our listeners.
But yeah, the next thing is Rhaenys is locked in here. So this is like the next thing we get is finding that she's locked into a room, and she's like, "What the fuck?" She's like, seeing people watching people run outside.
And then people are in the throne room now.
Well, all the servants get locked up too, and Larry's is there, right? Larry's getting some information about Talia.
Larys did that because Talia is a messenger,
and this becomes useful for him later.
He's a weirdo.
He uses that information later.
I can't wait to hear what the book says about that scene.
That's not the book.
What is the point of that?
That's the show original.
What is the point of that? Do we want to do a minute or two on that, or do we wait till
we'll get to it?
All right.
Yeah, so there's a scene where Alicent kind of to you were saying, Alicent and Cole, do they have a connection? I got it more not when they were out hunting, but like when she sends them out hunting.
Yeah.
He's like,
Or
anything
the
for you, my
search.
queen, and they're like kind of whispering under their breath because
It's
Aemon's
kinda
like across
goofy.
the room. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I think they got a secret deal going on.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Kristen is the worst. I don't like him at all.
Yeah.
Actually, like once he smushed Beesbury's head, I was like, yeah, he's an asshole. He's got no redemption.
Yeah.
No redemption arc for Kristen Cole.
Yeah, that's fucked up. I mean, because the thing is, the thing that I don't like about the way he smushed his head is either way it happens in the book, he's trying to kill him. He either slits his throat or throws him out a fucking window.
Yeah.
Here, it's like kind of an accident almost.
Mhm.
He's just like, oh, sit down, and because he's so old, like
His skull just smashes on a marble.
yeah, like I don't know, like yeah, you could say it was an accident maybe, but in the books, definitely not an accident.
He's an asshole.
So then Throne Room, which kind of starts this whole like Lord Caswell, the end of this guy's story arc. We've seen him a few times. He's kind of been like, he said hi to Rhaenyra when she was walking the baby up.
I didn't recognize him. I didn't remember him.
Yeah, he was the one that said hi to her when she was walking the baby up. He's the one, like, when they show up and no one's there to greet them at King's Landing. He's the one that comes to greet them. And then, yeah, he's the one that actually does kneel after everyone else, like, gets escorted out.
And
or
he's
whatever.
just doing that to save his face and send a message. So the other two, we don't see them dead. Do we assume that those two died? The lady and the old guy?
They got taken away, so I'm guessing they're with, like, the servants. Like, where
maybe they're in prison.
Just locked up or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, Otto's just being a tyrant. I mean, this is tyrannish. Like, kneel or die.
Yeah. Well, again, it's not die. It's get taken away to we don't know what happens. But yeah, probably not good. Kneel
or get held captive till you do kneel.
Yeah, you can't leave and think about it. It's like this one guy tries to do. He's like, I'll leave and come back and think
I
about
gotta
this.
talk to my family. Not that kind of decision.
So then I think we get a lot of the chase scene here, which we talked about a lot. The one thing is when they're in that fighting pit. So like, what's the deal with what's going on?
There's a Aegon bastard in there.
There's an Aegon bastard. That's true.
Blackfire.
In general, what's happening? Like, what is that? Like, what's going on there?
It's like kid chicken fights
with filed nails and teeth. Right? They said they file their teeth and their nails to make them fight better.
Are they all Targaryens? Were they all blonde-haired kids?
No, and this isn't even in any of the books. I've probably told you before, but I didn't think you'd remember. George has said in an interview that Rorg and Biter, the two people with Jack and Hagar, their backstory is Rorg was running one of these, a child fighting ring.
And Biter was a child fighter.
Was a child with filed teeth that he would train to fight. Biter would fight dogs and fight bear cubs.
That's
which is why he eats people, literally eats people now, chews off their hands, because he would literally fight animals.
He was fighting animals and
Rorg's
eating them probably for dinner.
Yeah. So again, this was not in anything published, but this makes it I don't know, unless do you think
they're really trying to show a Rorg backstory or a Biter backstory?
No, I mean it's way too early for that. I'm just saying either these showrunners are the same super type of weirdly fucked up as George, or they know fucking lore so deep that it's not even in books, it's only in interviews. Yeah. He has said if I ever get the chance to explain Biter's backstory, this is what it is. For sure. I just don't think I'll ever get a chance to explain it.
That's pretty interesting. I didn't even think about Biter when it came up. I
wouldn't have if not for that interview either, but I think it had to be a nod to that.
So Eric and Eric are running around in this pit, and the black girl that's working for the White Worm comes up to him and is basically get me the hand and I'll get you the king. Yeah,
let's set up a deal between our two people. They're like, fuck you, and then when they're like the White Worm, they're like, okay, deal.
Yeah, so the White Worm is pretty known around.
Yeah. And again, I like this character.
Does the White Worm go by day being a whore, and then she gets in her white dress to be fancy?
I think she told Daemon she doesn't do that anymore. In the time where Daemon wakes up after trying to diddle, I think she's like, I don't do that anymore or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like this character, but I feel like they haven't set her up enough to I don't quite get her motivations.
She can't. And also, she can't.
They kind of say she's dead here. So yeah, I mean,
no body.
No body. She's not dead. Even if she was dead, burned bones mean nothing.
If I want to think about it, I want to think Larys being a weirdo burned her deal down but like, hey, let's work together now, me and you. Like we can.
Now you can go super, super hiding. Like Laris is
Yeah.
saying that to her. Like, hey, let's fake your death. You go even deeper undercover.
and I'll be your best man on the inside. Like let's start working let's benefit each other type of deal. Which I mean, it seems like her big thing is she wants the fighting pits done, which doesn't seem like that gets shut down though. So maybe she does die.
Yeah, well, that's true. It seems like she's kind of has good intentions, right? Because she says all I want is for children to stop being hurt around here. Like, be a fucking good ruler.
Yeah, I mean, she's kind of blackmailing the crown to do the bidding of the people in Flea Bottom, which is kind of respectable.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, that conversation then goes to they find him, and then.
Well, this then cuts to Caswell getting caught, right?
Right.
We kind of talked about his story. He ends up getting hung. But this is interesting because this is, I think, our first Larry's Otto scene together, right?
Right.
Because they're both like, how do we deal with them? And Larry's is like, Caswell's basically like, oh, Larry's is full of shit. Like, I wasn't going to go to Rhaenyra. I just wanted to go out for a
walk.
trot. Yeah, exactly. And they're like, bullshit.
I mean, what an idiot. Like, he didn't even think of like any excuse of why he was going out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I mean, his effort to escape was thwarted really quickly and didn't even try. He was like, all right, fuck it, I lost. You got me.
Hey, at least wait a day.
And then Otto's like, hey, you've been spending a lot of time with my daughter. And he's like,
what does Otto know here?
I don't know.
Does he know everything?
Could he? Does anybody? Like, what the fuck?
Like, I mean, it could be worse. Like when she took off her shoes, I was like, I didn't think it was a feet thing. I think that's coming up, so we can just talk about that, right? We got a little bit till we get there. Let's just wait. Next is Alicent. Sees Alicent's Viserys' body. Nothing really there. She puts the crown on him because Aegon's getting a different crown.
Yeah, Aegon's getting Aegon's crown.
Then we get this Alicent and Rhaenys scene, which has this quote you've been waiting for.
Yeah. And it's not at all what I thought it was going to be. I think I like Rhaenys now. I'm curious to see how Rhaenys is going. And I don't know, maybe do I like Rhaenys because she's team Rhaenyra? But I'm not really team Rhaenyra. I think Rhaenyra's kind of. I like people that are people of their words, and I think Rhaenys is trying to do that right now.
I don't like this scene. I don't understand this scene at all. Alicent comes in and is basically like, hey, join my side. I have nothing to offer, but I like you, and you should have been queen, but join my side. See you later. And, like, leaves. And Rhaenys is like,
yeah,
what?
I think she was just kissing up to her with that, like, oh, you should have been queen. Like, she probably didn't actually mean that, because it doesn't seem like she really believes that a girl should be on the throne either.
Yeah.
Because she's like, we're basically ruling from the side. We'll let the men wear the crown, but we're in charge.
Does she say that, or does Rhaenys say that? Does Rhaenys say that?
I think Alicent says that.
Again, I feel like they're kind of back and
then
forth
I think
here.
Rhaenys is like, oh, you're smarter than I thought.
She says that, but I don't understand why.
I mean, the big thing is they want her dragon, right? They don't. They're really
like, we
care.
can't let. Yeah, they're like, we can't let you leave without the dragon because then if Rhaenyra has your dragon, then we're in trouble. Which I guess like
Well, it's just one more dragon against us.
They have Vhagar.
Vhagar's old and washed up. I think Vhagar's washed.
They have Vhagar. They have Sunfire. Helena has a dragon. All three of Alicent's children have a dragon.
Yeah, but then you got Rhaenyra,
Syrax, Caraxes for Daemon, and then they would have Meleys.
And then Jaehaerys or Jace's and
Jace, yeah,
Jace and Luke both have one.
Yeah.
And then Baela has
one. One of them has one.
Whichever one.
I think Rhaena has one. But yeah, you're right. Also, how many twins? Just like we got the Lannister twins, we got the Cargill twins, we got Baela and Rhaena, and now we got Jaehaera and Jaehaerys.
Yeah. A lot of twins going on. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember the details of the conversation. It's a lot of like, I feel like good monologue, but maybe like they're talking kind of queenly, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like
strong vocabulary, but I don't know if a lot's getting said.
Yeah, exactly. Like it seems like an interesting conversation, but at the end, I'm like, what did we just say? Like we just said.
Basically, like, are you gonna help us or not?
Yeah, and she's like, why would I do that? And Alicent's like, well, because we like you and you're a strong person. And Rhaenys like, cool, see ya.
And by the way, we want your dragon. And you can't
Yeah.
leave until you decide. And you basically can't decide elsewise. And then she ends up escaping with Eric with an E.
Yep.
But
I have a problem with that. She's all covered up. She's got her hair covered, and Eric is just running around in his Kingsguard finest. White cloak, white armor. Like, come on, we're trying to escape the city. Like, literally 3 scenes ago, you were in disguise.
It didn't seem like he wasn't leaving, though, I don't think. I don't think he was leaving.
Okay, I get that. But still, like, if you're trying to escort some, like, you're
I mean,
Kingsguard.
he was just in the search party,
disguised.
Not in his white armor. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But they end up getting separated anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yep.
Aegon comes back to Alicent, and I think Alicent has the conversation with Otto.
Yeah.
Basically like, hey, I got the kid, which doesn't really make sense. Like, couldn't Otto just take his swords and go knock down? I mean, they could have had the High Towers could have had a dance of towers over Aegon before.
I'm just saying, like, Otto does not need Aegon to send people to kill Rhaenyra. Like, there's nobody that would listen to Aegon and not listen to Otto if he said, hey, go kill Rhaenyra right now. So what's the point in him getting Aegon? You know what I mean? Like, there is no point.
Like, they were about to send the commander, right?
Yeah.
With his swords.
Mm-hmm.
Rhaenyra and Daemon hop on their dragons and mow them down.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I guess you could do it sneakily, like if you snuck into their bed chamber or something like that, but
I don't know.
Or showed up and pretended to be like, hey, we're here for a happy reason. You could get close to them without that. If you showed up with like,
you think Daemon's
like
just
chivalry, charging the beach with your sword, then you're gonna get dragoned. But if you play the game,
do you think any red flags would have went up? Like, why the fuck would these people be visiting us right now? Like, there's no point for them to visit Dragonstone.
That's another. I'm not gonna say that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I really like this conversation between Alicent and Otto, and like I said, like on the second rewatch, like I'd kind of forgotten about this conversation, and the whole chase scene, I was like, this is a stupid chase scene. I really wish we would have just had like a really good conversation between the two of them instead. And then we get it. She starts off by like calling him out, like, I've been your piece this whole time, and I'm just now getting it. And he's like, yeah, but I put you in the fucking queen's seat. Like I made you the best piece.
What you are. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, but I didn't get a choice.
I want him to go back to episode 1 and 2 when she's picking at her nails. Like, what was that like?
She still does that every once in a while. Her nails don't get as red, but I've noticed her in like the later seasons doing it once or twice.
I haven't seen it.
After the scene where the eye gets cut out and like there's the big fight and she like tries to go at Rhaenyra with a knife and Otto comes in and says like what he paid was worth 1,000 times what he got. Mm-hmm. You know, she's picking her nails there. She's picking her nails in that scene. She's picking her nails once in this scene too.
They like zoomed in on her nails and like made it seem like she's got the worst anxiety ever or something like that. And I don't know, they kind of swept it under the rug.
Yeah.
All right, what else happens in this conversation? Like,
well, they basically get down to brass tacks and be like, "What's the deal with Rhaenyra?" Which is like what the whole point of Aegon was. Like, oh, whoever has Aegon gets to decide what happens with Rhaenyra. And Alicent ends up saying what her deal is going to be, but Otto kind of has the Tywin argument for a second of, like I said earlier, like it's better. Like, why is it better to go to war than to do something kind of sneaky that only results in this X number of people's death? Even if it's kids.
Rhaenyra has said, maybe to Alicent's point, like Rhaenyra has said to her, I don't want it. I want to just go off and enjoy my life. And Daemon's kind of been off and about in Pentos, like maybe.
Well, again, and Alicent kind of insinuates that they're going to have to threaten or something like that to get that to happen anyway. Like, it's not going to be, I think she kind of insinuates whatever she's going to do isn't going to be too pretty, because she says we have to send good terms, and he's like, it doesn't matter how good the terms are, even if she accepts whatever terms you send, there's going to be some people that are going to support her,
right?
If she's in Westeros. And Alicent would be like, well, then we have to make sure that she's not in Westeros, like something like that, like if she comes back or something like that. And she's like, we'll have to make sure she doesn't, which to me means like, you have to leave. Like, the terms are right. Get the fuck out of here.
You go to Pentos and never come back. And
exactly. And I don't know how Alicent's going to play it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to Otto's point, like, what terms, like,
What
They
terms would
they said it in the
what,
council.
are they going to pay Rhaenyra like a boatload of money to leave? Like, what would she really want? What
Allison said it to Rhaenyra.
what does Alicent have that Rhaenyra would accept in exchange for the throne? Nothing.
Well, not even Rhaenyra. Damon. Allison even says that to Otto in the very beginning of the Green Councils. Like, he's like, okay, we'll just put him in prison and then like make him bend the knee. And Allison's like, even if you get Rhaenyra to bend the knee, Damon is never gonna bend the knee. You're gonna have to do what? Kill him? And he's like, yeah,
kind of.
yeah.
We were kind of planning on it.
Yeah. So she's like, okay, we're gonna send really good terms. Somehow make this happen. Kind of brushes over how they're actually gonna deal with Rhaenyra.
And Aegon will be king tomorrow.
Yep, king tomorrow with Aegon's crown, give him Blackfire and Christian Cole's new Lord Commander.
Remind them of the history of the Targaryens.
Which is cool because we know like what happens with the whole Blackfire Rebellion and how important the sword is, right?
Yes.
Because this king has a bunch of bastards.
And the bastard gets the
son,
sword.
Yeah, his sword. And then when he dies, he names them all on their deathbed. And a lot of people said, oh, he gave his bastard. And then on his death, it's a lot like Viserys on his deathbed. Yeah. And then they give the sword to Blackfire. Yeah. So here we go. Feet scene. Alicent goes back to her room. Has had a long day. Just wants to take a load off. Have a couple wine. She goes over.
I would hate that. And Larys is just sneaking in the back. Like, there'd have to be ground rules. Like, all right, Larys, if you want to jerk off to my feet, like, you're not sneaking in my room. Like, you can knock on the fucking door if you want to come in here and do that.
Well, you don't want anyone to know about that, right?
Well, then you can knock on the secret
Back
fireplace
door.
entrance or whatever you're coming in. Like, don't be standing behind me, you weirdo. Like, so what they start talking about the White Worm, right? And that White Worm is pretty much getting info on all of them and probably spreading it around. And
yeah, we hear about Talia, Alicent's lady. So yeah, he tells about her, and the whole time, like, he'll like give some information, then just stop talking. And Alicent won't say anything, but she'll just like take her socks off.
so then she had to take her shoes off, put her stocking foot up, and he talked a little bit, and then she stopped, and then she had to take her socks off, and he got a fucking little chubby going, got 3/4.
When he takes her when she takes her socks off, I'm like, is she about to stand up and like take her dress off next? And then she just turns to the side, and I'm like,
just turns and puts her feet up on the
why
couch.
is it grosser for him to be a foot guy than just to be like just having the queen strip for him?
He's not even like.
I hope we don't have any. I'm sure we have. What if we have a foot guy listener?
So no offense to you, buddy. To each their own. We all have our vices. So I saw a picture. You told me to stay off Twitter. It was like a quick little meme. They're like queen or hand of the king, have out feet of the queen, and it was like a picture of them like sitting across from each other. And I was like, what's he about to do? So I was fully prepared for him to like get down and like start going in on her toes and whatnot.
Yeah, I put a meme in the Discord that says the hand and the feet, and it's just a picture of Otto and Alicent.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe like a foot massage, or like I never thought he was gonna start whacking into it.
Yeah, just starts jerking off.
I mean, I'm not a guy that like dislikes feet. You know, the guys like, oh, I hate feet, I hate toes, or just people in general.
Whatever.
Like, oh, like Allison's feet are like average feet. Like, I don't know.
I wouldn't be able to rate feet, but I'm not grossed out by feet. But yeah, like cool. They weren't getting the job done. They weren't getting the job done for me like they were for Larry's. But yeah, not ugly.
Yeah. Well, he got after it for sure. Weird as fuck. I mean, that's how you've been spending your time. You've been giving messages to whack off to her feet, like.
Well, and what gets to the step of like, okay, now I get the profile view, I guess, which is like the fucking money shot for feet guys, is he offers to kill the White Worm. He's like, you want her dead, right? Because if you kill the queen bee, all the other bees go buzzing, don't know what to do. Sorry for the analogy, because
we'll have to check with Kyle.
We'll check with our bee guy. Yeah,
there's always another queen.
So is that the thing on his thing? A bee on his cane?
I thought you said it was a beetle.
Well, it looked like some type of beetle.
Well, beetle's not a bee.
But he's talking about bees now. He's also talking about spiders, because he said like the weave in the webs of lies or whatever.
You told me it was a beetle a couple of weeks ago.
Just because that's what I thought, I think.
Well, do a little research, would you?
Some Googling.
Yeah, so super weird guy. And then Rhaenys gets jumped out, right?
Yep. Caswell hanging. They sent him to the King's Justice. Shouldn't he have been
Shouldn't
head
he
off?
not have a head?
Ellen Payne doesn't have fucking ice yet, so
They don't have a
we're
sword.
hanging
Can't
people.
do it. No sword sharp enough. She bails. She's like, wait, I need my dragon, and they're like, no way you can go to your dragon. Like they're gonna be expecting you to do that. Which I guess they're using all their security for this. So like they start pushing everybody through the streets, which is kind of Ned Stark reminiscent.
Yeah, big time. Big time. I got that too.
And I didn't know the building. I was like, is that the Sept? Are they taking them to the Sept? And I was like, wait, it's the fucking dragon pit? Like, all right. Yeah. Oh, they're at the dragon pit. Now, I knew right away once she was there, I was like, oh, she's taking her dragon through the floorboards. Like, that's exactly what.
So a lot of people, in the moment, I thought it was cool. But when you think back on it, it's like she did just kill probably 200 people.
I mean, it was super easy for this dragon.
Even once it comes out, it's whipping its tail and you see it like throwing people.
What about the building that falls on her as she's on top of the saddle?
And like this is a dragon pit designed to like keep dragons in. Like, how is she?
Where are the dragon trainers? What did she do to get? Did like her dragon eat the people guarding?
Yeah, and I don't want to get too into like in depth with that because like we know Dany uses chains in Marine. So, like, maybe they're chained up and she lets the chains go, and that's how she can break through the roof, because the roof isn't that well. I'm just saying, like, you'd think this thing would be fucking solid enough to not be able to have a dragon break through the roof when you're trying to hold dragons.
I mean, I didn't hate the dragon. Let's talk. So, like,
when I watched the scene, I thought it was cool. But, like, when you actually think, it's like the Dothraki thing, where it's like, the Dothraki charging into the White Walkers. What if Melisandre wouldn't have shown up?
Right.
Then they're all just going to charge out there with
steel racks that weren't going to work.
Yeah, like when you think about it, there's some problems.
Yeah. So as Rhaenys is in the crowd, we get the royal carriage going by, and Alicent's kind of giving the first counsel that we've seen to Aegon about actually being the king, and he's just like, "My dad never loved me. Like bullshit. Yeah. Like he never claimed that it was going to be me. Yada 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 yada." She's like, "Well, guess what? He did say it to me. Believe it or not, and you're the king now." And like the big thing that changes his mind is this cat's paw dagger. He doesn't know shit about the dagger.
Yeah, and he doesn't buy it. I don't think he even buys it with the dagger. I think he likes the dagger.
But he like looks at it like, oh my god, like I got this dagger. Maybe I should be king.
Yeah, he doesn't know shit about it. I think it's just like a symbol of Viserys. Like, sure, that Blackfire's Viserys' sword, but Viserys had this thing on him all the time. Like this dagger on him all the time. He didn't have the sword on him all the time. But yeah, kind of another point, like, I don't hate what they've done with the prophecy so far, right? In episode 1, I didn't like the prophecy, the Song of Ice and Fire, right? To get to that, because it felt like they're trying to tie into Game of Thrones, where the prophecy ended up meaning nothing.
At the end of the day, Daenerys unites the kingdoms. Kind of doesn't unite them all, but
it's just her helping the North is what happens. Like literally, Cersei doesn't show up,
and the Veil, and
in the Veil. It's a stretch. Maybe
and
you could say the Riverlands.
Theon's there. You could say,
yeah, okay. Just a Dornish there.
There's one Dornish person there.
I don't know. I think it's a stretch to say the prophecy was fulfilled. I mean, besides the fact that the dagger literally killed the Night King by getting put into his fucking
then
heart.
You've also said like a prophecy is what is a prophecy type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. How does George treat prophecies? Like, what's the whole point of that? And it's what
more
people
about
do
the
because of them, and what they cause, right? Which is kind of how they're treating it within the scope of just the House of the Dragon. It's what they're doing with this prophecy. Like, it's kind of the thing. I kind of like it because like we can kind of look at this prophecy as a George R. like how George R. Martin thinks about all his prophecies.
Right.
Like, who gives a fuck about the end? Like we know,
mm-hmm.
we know the end. Who gives a fuck?
We care about what's going on between A and B.
Yeah, it still matters because of like Alicent's actions. And now, kind of to the dagger thing, the reason I bring this up is like, couldn't you see like Rhaenyra, like maybe she accepts Alicent's fucking wishes and she's like, I don't even care. You know what? Like fuck it, cool. If it means no war, let Aegon be king.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy with my family. No war. And then she sees him with the dagger, and then that triggers like, oh fuck the prophecy. We can't. Again, I don't think that's going to happen, but I bet you something like that happens, where the fact that Aegon has this now, not Rhaenyra, and she knows what it means, and like you're saying, he doesn't, and she and ties that with the whole also being king. I think that's going to strike a chord at some point somehow and cause an impact, which again I think is cool. Not because the prophecy is cool in the end, but because of its impacting actions in the story. Yeah, so I think that's how it's going to go. So, which I like. I'm cool with that.
And Alicent also says like, "Hey, you can't let my dad make you hard and callous, right?" Or like, violent and callous. She wants him to be peaceful, which this guy is biting. He's watching little biters and little roars going around.
Yeah.
He's got many bastards.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy just doesn't have. He actually kind of looks really soft, like when he's like, "I don't want it. I want to be. I don't want it. I don't want it."
Yeah.
And then like, "Oh, I got a sword now and a crown." Like, and he's like, "Oh, look at the crowd in a little bit," and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be the man now."
It's funny when I was watching it, I actually said out loud, like when he was walking through like the swords and like
what if somebody just chopped him in half?
No, what I was thinking was like, wow, maybe this will straighten him out. Maybe this like responsibility will like get him on the right path. And then as soon as like he gets like fucking 7 oils and Christian puts a crown on his head and he starts pumping that and they all start clapping and he gets that fucking smile. I'm like, oh no, this isn't going to be good. This isn't going to straighten him out. This is not going to be good.
He's going to get even
This is going to be worse. This is going to be Joffrey style. Exactly.
Well, then the dragon comes up through the ground and he hides behind Alicent. Like he cowers behind Alicent, which I get.
So this was where the thing where I was trying to like hope that maybe I was getting some connection between the Alicent Rhaenys scene earlier and this, where like maybe she doesn't burn him because Alicent steps in front of Aegon.
If she's gonna be Team Rhaenyra, it makes no sense. I mean, other than her just being the biggest maybe villain now in the Seven Kingdoms.
Also, there's some relation there, right? Their cousin, second cousin.
Well, and she just murdered everybody right in front of all of King's Landing.
So that's what a lot of people online are saying. This is like borderline season 8 level. Rhaenys just murdered so many innocent people just to kind of like just take it out the back door or just wait, like just hide down there until this bullshit's over. If you're not going to kill them, just like hide and like you know what's happening up there right now.
Right. It's also kind of weird that they all have dragons too. There's 3 dragons whose dragon riders are like maybe getting attacked right here, and none of them even like
that are all right
squelch or anything like you don't even hear.
Maybe Vagar's not down there, but yeah, the other 2 should be down there. Yeah, I agree. Again, I think when I watched the scene, I really liked it. I thought, except for the CGI at the end when Melee's like shrinks to like squeeze through the door. And then,
like, dude, it went from humongous, like it barely fit in that chamber, and then I'm like thinking it's gonna bust through the doors, like just.
You know how in art class, when you draw like a road going into the distance, you have to draw it like, I think that's what they were going for. Like the dragon pit is so big. This door is actually so huge. Far away. Yeah.
But then you can see when they're closing the door, it's like 4 people to each door closing it. Like goofy. It's not that big of a door.
Yeah, I agree. It looks kind of goofy.
I thought the dragon was just going to like knock out that whole wall. It was that big. And then it like shrank down like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids to get through the crack. I'm like, what? I enjoyed it coming through the ground. I don't really care about the 200 people that died, but sure. Like
I think a lot of people also compare that to season 8 because I've seen a lot of like when the dragon yells at like the whole family but doesn't breathe fire to like Jon yelling at the dragon. Jon yelling at the dragon in
and the Battle of Winterfell.
The other way around. But like it's like we're just yelling at dragons and then the dragons are yelling back now. Like that's how we fight. But I don't know.
And then Rhaenys flies off and black screen.
Yeah. Again, I don't think it's a bad episode. There's a lot of good stuff.
It's not a bad episode for
There's some stuff that doesn't make sense. I think stick to the books next time and won't have those problems.
How mad are you right now?
I'm not mad. I think they're trying to make some of the main. I think they're trying to put a lot of the bad guy on Otto. I think that's what they're doing, and I wasn't worried about it. It kind of happened a little bit already with Rhaenyra, right? Like, so what happened? And I think I talked about it. Like, we hear that Vaemon is talking shit on Driftmark, and Rhaenyra gets word of it, and she's like, Daemon, no, and she sends Daemon on like a secret spy mission, kind of, to go kill Vaemon. He does, and then he brings her back and feeds his body to the dragon.
Right.
Like it's not again like I like how they did it in the show. Awesome scene in the show. But Rhaenyra isn't like a cruel person sending someone to go kill someone. Yeah. Like Rhaenyra is not like a mastermind who's just like sending someone to kill someone who she disagrees with. Like this guy did this in court. Like he was clearly out of line. In the books, it's just like, Vaemon was kind of talking this to his brother, and Daemon got word, and Rhaenyra's ordered his murder. Rhaenyra orders his murder. Again, I didn't hate that. I didn't hate the change, but now I can see like, they're just kind of making them not seem as bad. You know what I mean? Alicent and Rhaenyra both.
So Rhaenys isn't there. She's at Driftmark, assumably. Where's Baela? Where's her ward at with Rhaenyra?
because she's now betrothed to Luke, maybe. Right, because that they got betrothed. All that happened real quick. Yeah, because I mean, cause it's all been 2 episodes, so you're right. Like in the books,
it's been
like
2
I
days.
think
It's been like maybe a handful.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I said 2 episodes. Yeah, 2 days. In the books, yeah, I think like Viserys doesn't die anywhere near
near the pig feast.
near the time where like there's like the question of who's going to be there to Driftmark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we're obviously not going to see a battle, I don't think, in this season. Maybe we'll see one. Maybe there's a kickoff battle.
I'll say I watched the trailer for the next episode. I'm very excited.
Okay.
I think the next episode is going to be the normal like episode 9 for Game of Thrones.
And then it's going to kick off a year of waiting, a year plus of waiting.
2 years. Yeah, it's going to be rough. There's 2 really big events back to back that I kind of thought they were going to do episode 9, episode 10. But neither of them have happened yet.
You know where this season will end?
No, I don't. That's what I was saying. I thought we were going to get both of these big events, and we still might. We might get them both next episode. I doubt it, though. I think instead we're going to get one of the big events next episode, and we're going to start the very season 2 with a really, really big event as well.
All right.
But yeah, I'm excited. I think next episode is going to be awesome.
Well, there you go. You hear from Nelson first. Next episode's going to be awesome. I am ready. If I had to pick right now, I'm Team Black.
I like Alicent in the show. They're making her seem very like. Besides covering up a rape,
I think Alicent is like a little. I'm not a fan of Aegon at all. So
yeah, bad guy. He went from jerking out a window to rape to kid fighting pits.
I kind of like Aemon. Aemon looks like a badass.
Yeah,
he's got the strongest chin I might like ever. Like his chin, like he could probably take a punch or 2 on that chin. It might hurt the fist.
He did
hurt the fist. He did take that. I've watched that back a couple times. Like.
Yeah.
It's like I said. I think
it's
I said
like
last week. He's like, no, you fold like a chair when you get hit. It's like Superman when Superman like gets punched and doesn't like breaks the hand. But all right, I'm done blabbering.
Me too.
But sorry for being a day late. But go Birds. Bye.